Hi, I'm Stu from Hive Mind Automation and welcome back to the Hive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this Aqara FP2 human presence sensor. As always, we're going to take a look around the outside of the box. We'll get it out of the box. We'll get it set up using the native Aqara app, and we'll see if we can integrate it into Home Assistant while we're here as well. As always, if you like what I do here, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can stay up to date with new videos as they're released. Check out my affiliate links in the video description as well if you're looking to upgrade your smart home or support the channel directly through my Buy Me a Coffee link. Of course, those affiliate links and my Buy Me a Coffee link can all be found on my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So I'm obviously late to the party with the Aqara FP2 human presence sensor. They've been out for well over a year, but recently my partner saw them on special and picked one up from Amazon for 127 Australian dollars, where they're normally $197 at somewhere like JB Hi-Fi or Officeworks. So getting $70 off was a really good deal, and we grabbed one. The FP2 uses millimeter wave radar technology, making it accurate at detecting human presence and even distinguishing between different zones within the same room. And it also allows you to track up to 5 people and the zones that they're in with just the one sensor. And it works in a very similar way to the Aqara FP1 that I've reviewed in a previous video. However, the FP2 is widely available across the world as opposed to the FP1, which had to be imported from China. On top of all of that, unlike a regular passive infrared motion sensor, millimeter wave is able to tell if someone is in a space, even if they're sitting or standing completely still. Now, in terms of prerequisites to use one of these devices, you are going to need a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, and you'll also need to have Bluetooth enabled on your phone. You'll want to have the Aqara app installed on your smartphone to get the full benefit of this sensor, including the multi-zone tracking and being able to fine-tune those zones. We'll head over to the unboxing bench and take a quick look around the outside of the box. On the front, we see Aqara, presence sensor, and presence sensor in French, FP2, a picture of the unit, and works with Homekit. On the left-hand side, multi-person positioning, fall detection, interference compensation, and then the same in French, Italian, German, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and Polish. There's some other details in Chinese and I think Russian. On the back, we've got some disclaimers. To control the HomeKit enabled accessory, the latest version of iOS or iPadOS is recommended. Controlling the HomeKit accessory away from home requires a HomePod, HomePod Mini, or Apple TV set up as a home hub. It is recommended that you update to the latest software and operating system. And then there's also some legal disclaimers about the use of Apple and Amazon trademarks on their packaging. There's the Bluetooth logo here and some compliance logos and recycling information. And then over to the right side of the box, we've got a feature matrix, multi-person detection, fall detection and alert, interference compensation, built-in light sensor, zone positioning, and local automations. And each of those has both the English and French underneath. On the top of the box, there's just some recycling and disposal information in French. And on the bottom of the box, we've got the technical specifications. It's a presence sensor FP2. The model is PS502D. The wireless protocols it uses are Wi-Fi IEEE 802.11bgn at 2.4 gigahertz. And Bluetooth 4.2. The dimensions are 64 by 64 by 29.5 millimeters or 2.5 by 2.5 by 1.16 inches. The operating temperature range is -10 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius or 14 Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The operating humidity range is 0 to 95% relative humidity with no condensation, and it has a protection rating of IPX5. It has a USB Type-C port. Input power is 5 volts at 1 amp, which is 5 watts, and it's made in China. And we have a list here of what is in the box. We have the presence sensor FP2 by 1, the user manual by 1, USB-C to USB-A cable by 1, a metal plate by 2, a sticker by 2, and a screw kit by 1. And then we've got all of the same details in French, manufacturer details at the bottom, including a support email and a customer website. There's also a warning about cancer and reproductive harm and a Canadian government website about it, but I went to that website and looked and I couldn't find anything specific about the Aqara FP2. I did do a little bit of research about the millimeter wave and found that millimeter wave is generally considered safe for human health, with no evidence to suggest that they're harmful, especially at the levels typically used by something like this. To the unboxing now, and we start off by cutting the plastic dot on the top edge and opened the top flap, exposing the unit itself right at the top of the box. Pulling it out and unfolding the stand, we see on the back of the stand the Homekit pairing code, and inside the recessor at the back, there's the USB Type-C port. On the bottom of the stand, there's some of the same specs like input voltage and current, and there's a hole through to screw the base down. Back into the box, there's a screw kit in here with a single mounting screw and a single plaster anchor. And pulling the cardboard separator out, we find the user manual underneath. And there's only a few pages, but there's multiple languages, which is why the manual is this thick. Next, we've got the USB A to C cable, and then one of the metal plates. And it's worth mentioning that the base of the unit is magnetic, so the metal plate and the base of the unit will stick together. It comes with 2 metal mounting plates for whatever reason, and each of them does have double-sided tape already installed on them to make the installation easier. So with the unit itself out of the box, let's take a closer look. The stand folds out so that you can angle the sensor correctly for your space and have it either fully extended and pointing vertically, or you could also have it mounted flat against the ceiling in a horizontal manner. And the minimal design means that it should just blend into most homes. If I plug the Type-C plug into the port on the back, that's how it's going to look there. The challenge, of course, here, especially if you're mounting it to the ceiling, is going to be getting the USB power cable routed to it. It mightn't be too hard if you're mounting it in the corner of a room near an outlet and then just run a cable up the corner to the unit itself. USB-C cables can be bought in up to 5 meters and possibly even more. I did a little bit of research on Amazon, so there's definitely something to consider there if you need to get a longer USB-C cable. Another thing you need to consider here is that it explicitly does not come with a power adapter. So you will need to figure out how you're going to get power to the unit if you're going to get one for your own home. I did a little bit of research and I found that this unit apparently does not support USB Type-C power delivery. So if you are going to be plugging it into a power adapter that does power delivery, it may still just negotiate the standard 5 volts. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but you might just have a little trouble there. Just be aware that your mileage may vary. While writing the script, I remembered that I've got some power over Ethernet to USB Type-C power adapters that might be interesting to use to mount sensors in multiple locations around the house by just running an Ethernet cable there and using that to power them. That said, these sensors are explicitly Wi-Fi only, so running Ethernet to them just for the power doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it is at the very minimum an interesting thought experiment. So now we've got the unit outside of the box. Over here on my iPhone, I have the Aqara Home app, and over here on my B camera, I'm just going to plug the USB Type-C power cable into the unit itself, and we'll just pop it there, and we'll see we've got the yellow light flashing. I'll open up the Aqara Home app, and we're just on the dashboard here. I'll tap the plus button in the bottom right hand corner and we'll tap add accessory. Tap on sensor down the left hand side, presence sensor FP2. It says power the device on and wait for its yellow light to change from always on state to flashing state. It's flashing. So I'll tap confirm the above operation next step. I'm going to add it to the Hive in Apple Home. And now it's asking me to scan the Homekit code on the back. So I will do that. And we've scanned the Homekit code. It's got a sensor. We'll add to home. The lights started flashing blue now rather than yellow. It's taking a long time to set up. Okay, so it said unable to add accessory and to connect to a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network and try again. Now, that tells me that it does not like the dual band network, which is what I'm on at the moment. So I will need to go into my settings here on my phone, and I'll connect to HiveMind IoT, which is my 2.4 gigahertz exclusive network. And we'll just back out here. So we're back at the choose a home page. We'll go next step, and we will scan the pairing code from Homekit again, add to home, and it's trying to add again here.
5 minutes later.
It's come up with accessory not found. I'm going to tap OK on that, unknown error code. I'm going to hold down the button on the FP2 here and try and reset it. Okay, so we got the yellow flashing light back. I just had to hold the button down for about 10 seconds. I'll tap next step now, and I will scan that code again. Okay, it has stopped flashing completely now, and it's asking for the sensor location. So for now, I'm going to put it in the lounge room. I'll tap continue. I'll leave the name as Aqara Presence Sensor FP2. We can change that later. We'll tap continue. So use the name provided or enter a custom name for each item. We've got light sensor and occupancy sensor there. I'll just leave those alone for now. We'll tap continue. And sensor added to the Hive. We'll tap done. So that's now added it into HomeKit, and now it's binding it into the Aqara app. And it's got accessory names, presence sensor FP2. Location is currently in default room. I'll leave it at that for now. We'll tap next. We can change the information of the device card. So occupancy sensor, I can make that lounge room presence sensor, tap OK. And we can, change the icon. It's got a couple different suggestions there. We'll just leave it as the default. Add a card to homepage board. We'll leave that alone. Card style, we've got style 1, or there's style 2. I'll leave it as style 1 for now. Board on homepage, new board. We'll just leave that alone as well and tap next. So now we've got the illuminance. So the light sensor, we can tap on here and change the name if we want. We can tap the icon with the kebab menu there. Again, add card to homepage board, and board on the homepage is new board. We'll tap done, and that should be added now. So it says how to improve the recognition accuracy of presence sensor FP2. We can go through that later. And choosing the detection mode. So there's 3 modes that we've got available here. So there's zone detection for presence detection and zone management for multi-person scenarios, and that's designed for wall mounting. There's fall detection for falling detection in the zone, so it's a single person fall detection there, and that apparently requires ceiling mounting. And you also have a sleep monitoring mode, which is a limited free option, so I'm guessing they charge you for that after a period of time, for monitoring individual sleep conditions in the zone for a single person. So for a single person, that's probably not great. I'm going to use zone detection, and that's probably the use case for most people for this device. I'll tap install now. So I've just propped it up on the stand so that it's sitting pretty much vertically as if it were mounted on a wall. So it says, please select an appropriate wall installation point according to the detection range. It appears to show that we've got about an 8 by 6 meter range, and we would need to install it in the center of the shorter edge wall of the room. So it does also state here that the effective detection area is marked in blue, the area marked in red, which in this case is actually more, in my opinion, of an orange rather than a red, won't be monitored. And for better results, it's suggested that you install the sensor in the corner of the room. If it's suggesting to install in the corner of the room, I don't know why the first page shows it as being as the center of the shorter edge of the wall. It also says to select a suitable installation place between 1.4 and 1.8 meters in height, and to see the illustration below, because if it's too high, it might miss people sitting or small children, and if it's too low, it might pick up pets or other ground interference. Might pick up the robot vacuum, for example. If installation height is limited, the pitch angle of the device can be adjusted according to the actual needs to optimize the detection range. So yeah, that's where this angle adjustment comes into play. Go next step. Installing for installation in the corner. For accurate detection data, please follow the guide for proper device installation. After installation in the corner, please keep the device fixed during use, otherwise it will affect the detection accuracy of the configured area. So apparently you can get an optional stand and install it on that flat surface in a right angle corner as shown. And then you get a 7x7 meter space that you can detect. So 7x7 is actually pretty good. I'll tap next step again. And device angle detection. So for accurate detection data, follow the guide, fix it with screws or magnetically, attach it directly to the stand, rotate the logo to the horizontal position. So apparently if you mount it, you can't mount it on a skewed angle. You need to mount it horizontally there. And it doesn't seem to suggest that it matters if it's upside down. So that's actually okay. Yeah, so it says installation successful there. So you can adjust the pitch angle of the device stand to meet detection needs. We'll tap complete installation. So set detection zones. So setting a basic monitoring zone based on your actual space. Face the device and click start setup to set your basic monitoring zone as guided. So it's essentially, as far as I can tell, going to try and map the area. So what I might do here is I might go and plug this in over in the corner of the lounge room and run it from there, because I think that's going to be more or less where I want it to be in production anyway. So I will be back in a second and we might have a different camera angle. Okay, so now that I've got it temporarily mounted in the corner of the lounge room here, and I've had to just kind of mount the camera off to the side just so that it's not going to interfere with these detections anyway. I'm going to tap start setup here and confirm monitoring direction. So follow the basic zone setup. It can see me moving forwards and backwards. You can kind of see me moving around on the map here. It is doing some kind of phantom detection here because there's nobody else in the room. Working okay. Check if it matches, so it's consistent, so that's fine. So move to the rightmost edge in the zone, and it's going to try and map the space, I think, here. So I get as far to the right as I can. Rightmost edge reached. Now move to the rightmost edge. I'll go into leftmost edge, so here. Move to the back side. So about here. All right. Basic monitoring zone set. No monitoring areas auto set. To slide grid to adjust no monitoring zone. Okay, so we can set up zones where it's not going to monitor, which is interesting. I'll leave that alone. I'll tap next. Adaptive view. Auto expands detection range for better viewing. Zone management page will show full view for setup convenience, or full view. Show complete zone, including edge and other non-detection zones. So I'll tap complete. So AI learning will reset the device to absent status. Please keep the area clear and wait as it processes. So I need to move the cat out of the area, and I need to also leave the area, and I'll tap start learning. Confirm the current space is unoccupied. I'll tap continue, and it's going to scan using some AI. Okay, learning successful, configuration successful. Don't move the device after the configuration is completed. If you need to change the location of the device, please reconfigure the operation to ensure the accuracy of the detection results. So I'll tap start now. Okay, I've just walked back into the zone and it has detected me. But what I need to try and figure out is if I can actually move. So it can actually detect me. Now, what it's showing me here is a second person in the space, which apparently that is a thing that it does, is some ghost detection, where it can still see someone after they've moved from a spot. Installation mode, so device installation mode, got it. Zone management, full view restored. So we can put a template here, so recommended template. So we could do like a living room, that kind of thing on mine. Put a sticker, so sofa, for example, starts from about here. We've kind of set up the couch in the corner here. So in zone management, we were able to add stickers, and we can long press the zone and we can start editing things. So what I can do, if I move to the edge of the kitchen here, so essentially what I'm doing here is just moving around the space to kind of indicate that this is the kitchen space, and then where the lounge room space is. So I'll do that, and that's an attribute of detection zone. Type, we will call, let's give us an option here. This is kitchen, tap OK. That monitoring sensitivity is high. Attribute detection zone or interference source, or an exit or entrance. So we can also, we'll save that detection zone. I probably should have changed the name, call that kitchen. Okay, save that. Head in here, and we can change the color to a different detection zone, and we'll go pretty much all of this space here, and we'll call that lounge room. Okay, we'll save that, and I'll head to the corner of the dining room here. Okay, so I've defined the kitchen, lounge room, dining room, and hallway zones. It is still showing this ghost person here. So tapping in the top right corner takes us to save template. So I'll call this living space corner. Tap OK, and I'll save that template just so that we've got something if I need to change it later. So we're back out here. Presence lasts 9 minutes. Illuminance is 87 lux, so we can see there. We've got that. The presence that we've got, it shows all areas, and it's got hallway, dining room, lounge room, kitchen. So back out there, so we're back on the main page. Head back into lounge room presence there for a moment, and I might just, for some reason there's now 3 people. I'm going to sit down at the dining table to finish filming here, but you can see it's got me in the zone there. So it is working. So it's doing its thing. I'll tap on the kebab menu in the top right hand corner so we can take a look here. And we see we've got presence sensor FP2 in the default room at the top, and we can change those settings and see the accessory name, which we can change. We can change the location if we want, the device official name, the user guide, FAQ, device privacy policy, manufacturer accessory ID, and firmware version. Backing out here, we can head into device card, and you can see lounge room presence sensor, illuminance, kitchen, lounge room, dining room, hallway. Back that out there. And in device settings, we can see the detection mode is zone detection, and you could change that to fall detection or sleep monitoring if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. Our detection setting, we drill in here, we can see detection direction. So the direction mode of the sensor, so left to right detection, which detects approaching the sensor from the left or the right side, or the default, which is not directional. Reversed coordinate, so set the left and right directions. Presence detection sensitivity is currently high, and proximity sensing distance, so you can go far, where the trigger distance is around 3 meters, suitable for scenes like large conference room. Medium, where the trigger distance is around 2 meters, suitable for scenes like ordinary family environments. Or close, where the trigger distance is around 1 meter, for a small space scene. I'll leave mine at medium, which is apparently perfect for a home scene. Backing out from detection mode, for whatever reason I skipped over name sync, so sync zone names in Aqara Home and Apple Home. So you can synchronize an area name, which is interesting, and we can tap that sync Apple Home to Aqara Home, which I've just done. And homepage view display, we've got adaptive, so if I tap that, there's either adaptive or full view. I'll just save that, leave that alone. AI learning, which you need to reset the device to absent status and keep the area clear as it processes, so you can rerun that AI learning feature. Anti-light pollution mode, so when you have that set, the indicator turns off during a certain schedule. So you can actually schedule that indicator light to just be off by default at 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. We can tap find device. If I tap that, it flashed the light on the device there. Backing out of device settings is network information. So we can see the device MAC address, the networking type, which is wireless, Wi-Fi channel, signal strength, the SSID, the IP address, and the BSSID that it's connected to. And backing out there, we've got firmware update. So if I drill in there, it shows that we do have an update available. Supports Samsung SmartThings, optimization of the sleep staging, fall detection, presence detection, heart rate detection, and out of bed response speed. That's interesting. Fixed a restart offline issue and optimized Homekit connection stability and network connection issues, and fixed other known issues. So I'll tap upgrade, and that is going to run through the firmware update. And you can see on my B camera there that it is flashing a yellow light while it runs that update. Okay, so that's not great. I just got a firmware update failed. I'm not entirely sure why. So it's on firmware 117 and 128 is available. So we'll leave the firmware update for now. Related items of device. So if we go in there, we can see the related automations and scenes. So if we had set up an automation in the Aqara app, it would show that there, or a scene as well. And we've got some logs here. So if I drill in, it shows logs and presence and absence in different things there. Someone's going away, someone is approaching. So it does show us approaching and moving away, which is kind of helpful there. And I'll back out there. So that's the native app. If I back out here and then open Apple Home, what I'll do is I will go to the lounge room, and occupancy is currently showing as none. And we've got no response from the Aqara sensor in Apple Home, which is not great, but we can drill in and we see occupancy detected, and it's currently showing no for the lounge room. And if we scroll down, we see manufacturer, all of those normal details that we would have. But the way this is set up, so it's got multiple sensors there, and there's one for each zone that we created in the Aqara app. So I've got to see if I can figure out getting this to actually respond properly. I'll go and get this firmware update sorted. Okay, so second time's the charm for the firmware update. So that's now done. If I back out, it seems like we've got a bunch of stuff is reset. We'll head back over to HomeKit. So we've got occupancy detected, and I am in the kitchen. So I'm going to change this to kitchen zone. Done. Okay, and then I will go into is hallway zone. Done. Over to here. Done. Move that. Okay, so the other thing here is we've got the occupancy sensor, and this is for the whole sensor. So if there's any occupancy at all, that one is going to be triggered. So if I move out of range of the sensor, hallway zone triggered as I left, and still showing triggered. If I head back over here, let's see if there's ghost detections. Yeah, so there's a ghost detection in that hallway zone, which as I left, that might be the problem. So what I can do, if I let me tap on here, and I'll go to device settings, and AI person detection is a new feature that we've got since we did the update, and we've also got advanced functions which are limited free, and also lab functions. I won't turn those on. Go into name sync, and I will sync from home to Aqara, and all of those device zone names that I just did will sync back to here. We can now see that syncing the zone names from HomeKit back to Aqara did work. Let me go gray, attribute edge. Yeah, so if I go and gray out all of this stuff here, and save that. So that should now pretty much be the layout there. I'm pretty happy with that now, actually. One thing I will actually do here in zone management, I will go new zone, and I'll go exits and entrances. And I'll just mark those two there, and I'll go red. That's purely so that it knows that someone has exited there. So if I now go out through here, I'm kind of hoping that yeah, okay, so that is now updating more appropriately as I enter and exit that space. So that is now sorted. Heading back over here, we've got our different presence zones going into occupancy. It's currently updating and it got no response again, which isn't great. So that was apparently supposed to be fixed by the software update. Okay, so there was a bit of faffing about, but we've got our Aqara FP2 now integrated into Homekit, and it's running in the native app, and we've set up all of our detection zones, etc. Now, what we want to do is get this into Home Assistant. Over on my laptop, I've got my Home Assistant here on one of my dashboards. And what I need to do to make this work, according to the research that I've done, is I need to, over on my iPhone, go back into Apple Home and go to the occupancy sensor and grab one of these things. I need to scroll down to the bottom, and this is where it gets a bit dicey. I'm going to remove the accessory and tap remove. Now, what this should do is just remove it from Apple Home, but not remove it from the Aqara app. So if I head back over to Aqara, we can see that we've still got it here and it is still detecting and it seems accurate except for the ghost. So if I now go into Home Assistant over on my laptop, and I'll scroll all the way to the bottom in my sidebar and go to settings, and I'm going to head into devices and services. I'm just going to refresh this page, and it may detect something. So it can take a little while for this to set up. What I might actually do is restart my Home Assistant to kind of force it to. So I'll head over to System and then the power button, restart Home Assistant and restart. Okay, so my Home Assistant's back up. I'm going to head over to my settings and then devices and services, and it has not detected it still. It might still be coming up. I'll give it a couple more minutes. So it's not detecting the FP2 in Home Assistant with a HomeKit controller device for me to then be able to use HomeKit controller to link Home Assistant into the Aqara FP2. Fortunately, that hasn't worked, and I'm kind of annoyed because now I'm going to have to reset everything. That said, I have seen some suggestion that enabling this device to Home Assistant may require me to enable Bluetooth. Now, at the moment, my production Home Assistant setup is on a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 that doesn't have a wireless module, which means no Bluetooth connectivity, which kind of complicates matters there for me to be able to try and pair using Bluetooth. But I am planning to do a video in the not too distant future on migrating from my existing Compute Module 4 that does not have wireless to a new Compute Module 4, which does have the wireless module. Now that the Compute Module 5 is released, though, I might order a couple of those. So that's the Aqara FP2 presence sensor. Again, I'm late to the party on this device, but at the special price of $127, it was too good to pass up. Now, to get the most out of this device, I probably need to permanently mount it either on the wall or a ceiling and run a reasonably longish cable up to it, and then fine tune my zones a little bit more. And it's worth mentioning as well that the maximum detection distance does appear to cover more than the space that I have here in my kitchen, dining and lounge room, but because of the angle that it's on, it's not quite going to get everything in this space. I will need to repair it with HomeKit, which I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to have to reset it back to factory and start again. Hopefully with the template that I've saved, I should be able to reload it fairly easily and not have to mess around too much. But as you can see, the presence detection is pretty good. Now, something I did gloss over when I was setting up the zones, you could quite reasonably set up a zone for the couch or an armchair or something else that you might want to have. For example, say someone who's sitting in an armchair in a particular spot in the house, that might be the gaming chair, and you could then enable gaming mode with your lights, etc. I do need to figure out some of the ways that I want to do this. I'm not 100% certain that everything is set up the way I want. And obviously I want to try and get all of this into Home Assistant so that I can get it all working and get automations run through there rather than trying to do automations through Apple Home. I'm really impressed. I think this is a really great device, and I'm really keen to finalize the setup and get it all set up properly. I'll definitely be interested to see what more I can get out of it, especially once I do get it into Home Assistant. I think the fall detection feature would be an interesting one to test. I imagine that could be particularly helpful if you were maybe setting up a smart home for an elderly family member or someone with an elevated fall risk, so that you can then get alerts sent to your phone in case something happens. As always though, let me know your thoughts and what you would use the FP2 sensor for in the comments section down below. And if you've got any tips or tricks for getting it into Home Assistant, please let me know. That's all we have for this video, and I hope that it's helped you in your home automation journey. Be sure to drop a comment down below with a home automation idea you'd like to see me cover in a future video. And don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Instagram and Facebook. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like and help the YouTube algorithm recommend it to more viewers. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing now. While you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified about new video releases. Lastly, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to help support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Any contribution you make through Buy Me a Coffee does get put towards making more and hopefully better content for you to enjoy. Don't forget to check out my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.